Okay, before we throw this in the ultrasonic, I do want to show you how dirty and cruddy it is. Hopefully this will look like new. I might throw this in there along with the, well, no, I'm not going to throw this in here. It could damage it. I mean, I don't think it works anyway. I'm sure I can make it work, but I'll just clean it, I guess, with some electronics cleaner. It's probably the safest route. I could throw these in there, but they're really not that dirty. They're just damaged. So I think I'm just going to work on repairing these. Maybe give them a clean with the wire wheel. So this should be the only thing I really need to dunk in there. Oh, this piece, I do have a new one of these. I don't know if I'm going to use that or not. And then this piece, I did get the tape off that. I just used some goof off. Just got the tape off, no big deal. It's funny, I look at this kit and I don't notice a huge difference. But then I went and looked at the video, and because the wire I have for the servo is incorrect, and I wanted to make sure both of them are incorrect. It's not what the manual calls for, so I might make something or try to make what I have. I just was kind of mocking up the servo. It's not double-sided tape down yet or anything, but so yeah, it looks a lot different. It looks a lot better. I'm not happy with that pitting, but it's 100 times better. So, okay, while the battery tray is cleaning the ultrasonic cleaner, I did go ahead and double-side tape, some right here, the servo in place, and I figured out what servo horn I'm going to use from the kit. This is one of the, I've got a lot of these servos from Amazon. They're like $15. They work great. But I've cut off the ears I'm not going to use, and then I'm just going to take my Dremel and just make this look a little pretty. And similar to the body on the Tamtec, I just scrape off the excess. It's not perfect yet, but you can see what I'm going for. It doesn't have those jagged edges. After we're done, if you want to clean up this edge, it's actually really simple. Just take a black marker. See how it's kind of discolored from the, now this is not going to match perfectly, but from a distance. You can also take some black paint, or you can just not worry about it. Most people wouldn't worry about it. All right, we're back. All the parts are out of the ultrasonic cleaner. I was actually trying out some straps here just to see if I had the right ones, and I do. Take that out, but you can see this piece is nice and clean. I'm going to try to undress these, but it's been melted. That was like that before me. And then all these parts are clean. These turned out beautiful. They were already pretty nice. Most of these turned out really nice. They look brand new, although there's a couple that still have a little bit of corrosion, like this one, which won't hurt anything, but we're going to maybe do like a light sanding. And then these look okay, but we have to address the dents, and I've got an idea for that. But right now we're going to focus our attention on this. I'm going to try something. Got this is for a printer. It's a scraper, putty knife, whatever. It's thinner than a putty knife. But I'm going to kind of, I don't want to heat this up directly with the heat gun, but I'm going to try to kind of press this on here and then heat up the whole thing and kind of press down. We're going to see if that works. I don't think it will, but it's worth a shot. I've never tried this, so let's see what happens. Actually, before I go any further, I just want to show you if that shows up. See how it's kind of protruding. And this is not a huge deal. If I can't get these out, that's fine. I don't want to ruin this piece. What I'm doing is just feeling it when it kind of sticks. I'll just hold this down there. Oh yeah, that worked up nicely. That actually closed it up, which is fine. I'll open it back up. And that's easy enough to do with the knife, because these are a little bit cattywampus anyway. So they weren't exactly straight, because whenever they put this kit together, They heated it up too much. Yeah, that's actually going to work out real nice. I'll do the same thing to that one. But it gets really hot. Oh, there we go. That's flat. And we did not harm the inside. So you can see now. That's nice. Sweet. On to the next thing. Okay, still working on some of the battery tray. So you've got these little connectors that connect the C-size batteries. And all of them except for one are kind of banged up. This is the good one. See how that's... So this is the worst one. We're going to start with the worst one. And we've got our little anvil here. We've got a small socket. That is the perfect size. Well, it's kind of the perfect size. And then we've got a punch, which is very close in size too. So we're just going to, again, I'll show you this one. You can remember what it looks like. Probably should have tried this first. We could totally fail right here, but pretty confident we won't. I was going to actually grind this end kind of curved, but I forgot. I got rid of my grinder a long time ago. I have to use the Dremel, and that would take forever. And we're almost there. You don't want to go too far. You can easily rip these, but not perfect yet. You see a huge improvement. It's not all dented in. Need to get maybe a smaller punch, which I did not bring down here, and then maybe knock out the little center there. We might be able to get it. The edge here. These are obviously very light taps. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. Wow. There we go. So we're going to do that for all of them. We're also going to make sure the edges are flat. We're just going to put those against the anvil. Actually, we're not going to do that. We're going to put the socket over them. Just like that. So I'm just putting the socket there. Now it's flat around the edges. And we still got a little tiny work. I am going to get a smaller punch just to punch out that center, but that will work nicely. We'll finish those, and then hopefully we'll be done with this pretty soon. So slight modification, well, not really a modification. I've got a piece of dowel rod that basically I just cut down and rounded over the end. That way I can get it fully opened up on the inside. And this is super soft, so this is oak dowel rod, which even poplar would be fine. There, now we're fully ready to go, and then we can turn the socket around, flatten out the edges. And there we go. Sweet. On to the next thing. Okay, we are back. We've got our battery tray finished. You can see the glue finally just came apart by itself. Got it cleaned up. We're going to glue it back together and get the party rolling, but I wanted to show you the connectors. They're in there, all nice and neat. On the other side, we've got our straps in there. We've got it all cleaned up. I put my wire. I did make a loop like that on purpose, kind of bridged it like that, so all the wires all the wiring is technically done except for the two leads going to the speed controller, all that, which we'll get those done shortly. I am going to glue these back together, but wanted to show you that it finally did come apart. And when we put the batteries in, we're actually going to put the batteries in now. We'll start with negative up first. It really doesn't matter as long as they're all staggered, because at the end, it depends on our leads. We just got to make sure we have our leads correct in the end. That's fine, but we're going to do it the way that it's marked. They fit in there nice and snug. We'll take our straps, strap these down. We'll actually have to adjust those a little bit. And then we'll do the same thing to this side. And then we're going to glue this together, and then we will start cleaning up the old speed controller. We're not going to use it, but I'm going to put it back in. We'll get that nice and neat, and we'll get this battery compartment done. And then we'll start working on the motor and speed controller and all those things. So stay tuned. Okay, we're going to work on this, just cleaning it up. I've kind of started cleaning one side, but we're going to clean the other side. And then I just have some of this contact, this electric cleaner. You don't really need to use this on this portion, but I wanted to give it a shot. And I've got these little brushes. Actually, a buddy gave me these a long time ago. They were apparently for cleaning VCR heads. You can see the dirt that's coming off there. Again, this won't matter. I'm not reusing this at this point. I did unsolder all the wires, but I can always put it back. Everything I've done is reversible, and the wires were in bad shape anyway, so I would have replaced them had I used this anyway. So that's pretty clean. We'll spray a little bit more on there, and then we'll take just a little piece of magic eraser. See how much more we're getting off. Just getting 50 years of crud off of there. There, that's good enough. See, it's pitted, but it's nice and shiny. And now we can put this back together. We're going to glue this, which we just talked about. So I've got all the glue cleaned off. We're going to glue this together, and then we'll start putting this back together so we can get a platform for our driver figure, as Tamiya calls it. So we will be back. While I'm waiting for the battery tray to finish gluing back together, which you don't really need to glue that because it does attach to the bottom of the chassis, we're going to check out the motor. And I'm just using this little power supply that I've had for quite a while. I've used it with the Hot Wheels to do some of the electroplating and whatnot. I've already tested this, and it does work. It's a little shoddy, but, well, it doesn't sound as great, so it sounds a little, sounds a little, you can't hardly hear it on camera, I don't think, but it just needs a clean and probably a little bit of oil. But it's the original motor, and it does work. Now, I don't know if I'm going to use that, or I've got this 380 that fits in there perfectly. It is a little bit bigger. I'm sure it'll be quicker. I may end up going with this original one, or I may just keep this in a box. I don't know. So we're going to clean it. We're just going to use our contact cleaner, our BW100. We've got some particles coming out of there. And then we can actually run it while it's wet. In the RC world, we actually used to run these and dunk them while we were running them, so that's not going to hurt anything. Okay, that sounds a little bit better. And then we could take some of our lube and just put a drop on the rear shaft and then on the front. And then we'll run it some more. So that's at 3.5 volts. Let's pump it up to 5.2. There we go. Which that'll be about max for our battery. That's half an amp, 0.6 at 5.2 volts. If we had more battery, you can hear what it sounds like with 7.2 volt. There we go. We can run that for a while just to make sure it's all nice and seated. The commutator looks really good. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera or not. Probably not. There you go. You can kind of see it. And it actually sounds real healthy now. We may use this. Not bad. We can try this new one. This is the Sport Tune. Whoa. That's at 5.2 volts. 5 point, oops. So it definitely sounds faster. It feels a little bit better in the hand, smoother. But just to give you an idea. So that will be a decision I make here shortly. I don't know. I might just use this bigger one just for the time being. Decisions. We've got the tray glued back together. I also have my wire put on here, so it's ready to go in. Now we need to attach it to the vehicle, and there's some holes. You line only 4 of them up. Apologize for my voice. I've been kind of sick on and off. It's been a great week. So we'll get those lined up, and we're going to run the servo wire. I don't know if you saw that, kind of under. I guess I could push it under later, but it's going to be easier right now to kind of some wire management there. So now I did leave this a little bit long because I'm not going to be able to take this out to charge it. So I could have made this a little smaller, but I figured a little longer would be better. And the little screws are right here, so we're going to put those in, and we'll put the batteries in, and then we'll test the voltages. I haven't charged these yet. I did check them, and I just wanted to make an observation. So, okay, I'm not sure exactly where we left off. Unfortunately, some of my footage is missing. I got the footage, but then the SD card became corrupt. I tried to fix it, and I had to format it. So I think where I left off is we had glued the battery tray together. I had already put the loop in, maybe the leads, but as you can see, we're further along than I was last time, and I wasn't going to take it all apart and do it again. But I've got the motor in. I went with the aftermarket. I still have the stock. I'll keep it in the box. The receiver's in. And the speed controller's in, and we have the wire on the servo. So I bought some small rod from Amazon, and this stuff is not going to work. It actually, you can see one of them broke as soon as I tried to bend it, and then I tried to heat it and bend it. It didn't work. It's supposed to be solid rod, but it's almost like it's threaded. So one of the actual ones that were with the car would work. I just had to rebend it in a different fashion, so it actually works just fine. So we're set there, and then I've got, again, the micro speed controller is installed, and a little bit of a story on that. So I purchased these kind of about 3 weeks ago, 2 of them for like 14 bucks. I already had this speed controller. This is cheap as well, but you can actually program through your phone. I've got it in one of the other cars, and it works really nice, actually. The reviews kind of weren't very good on it. I don't even think they sell it anymore, but anyway. And the reason why I was going to, actually, I tried this one out. This one goes down to 5 volts and up to 8.4. If you'll notice, there's only 4 cells, so that's the reason why I bought these micro ones, and these are only a 1.2 volt cell, so 4 times 1.2 is 4.8, so it'd be below the threshold. But when I checked voltage on each cell, even at a low charge, no charge, when they were brand new, I was getting 1.3, so I'm like, okay, well, total's over 5. And even right now, so if I check what the battery's putting out right now, it's at 5.5. So what I did is, it didn't work, so I'm like, okay, I'll charge the battery. It got it up to 5.5, and it still didn't work. And I'm like, what's going on? And I looked in the app, and it said didn't have enough voltage. Anything close to 5 volts, basically, it will not allow the throttle to function. So that's why I went with these micro ones. They're fine. They're cheap. It's actually a better solution because it's going to be kind of hidden. The battery, or the wiring situation looks a little messy right now. It's actually pretty clean overall, but I will be putting on these other parts here in a moment so we can actually mount our guy. So that's kind of where we stand. You can see there's the micro speed controller. We've got our quick plug on the motor, so if I do want to take it out, put the other one in, I can. We've got our pinion installed. Everything is ready to go. And I actually made this, again, a little bit longer so I can actually charge it. So where we're at now is we're going to kind of finish installing the rest of the old speed controller. We're not going to use it, but... And I actually thought about using the old speed controller. I thought that would be kind of cool, but then you've got to have another servo, and I just like the idea of more modern electronics. And hopefully, I'm not fumbling around too much. I'm still pretty under the weather, so I'm not that I'm ever smooth, but probably even less smooth than normal. Okay, we've got this in place. I actually routed the battery wire under there because I have enough room. You also notice the switch, it's just hot glued to the side of the battery box, so no permanent gluing or anything there. And yeah, and actually back to the speed controller, this one's better, the small one, because I would have had to put the other one back here because you can see there's not a lot of room right here. So the last piece to put on for all the mechanical items of this car is this little tray. We've got some washers, and we've got our nuts. So all the mechanical portion is done. We'll have the painter guy, and then we'll double-sided tape him right there. And of course, we've got to start on the body, and that is going to be a little bit of a fun task. Actually, it probably will be fun. So there is the kit. So that's going to wrap it up for all the mechanical portions of this. We're done with that, which was a lot of fun, actually. I'm kind of sad it's over with. We'll take it a little romp around the basement here so you can see it run without the battery. It's actually probably a little too fast for this motor, or for this motor's probably a little bit too fast for this chassis. And I don't really want to damage these tires. I may look at some other options, or I could use the tires from the model kit, but they're really slick. All right, here we go. I'm actually holding the GoPro with one hand. Here's our controller. Kind of hard to control with one hand. You can hear it burning out. That's why I don't want to damage these tires. See how slick they are? So there it is. It runs, it goes. It's the steering works fine. Now these Amazon servos are not the fastest in the world by any means, but they do the job. So that's going to wrap it up for this part. Next thing we'll be working on is the body.